Yes, it's one of these videos again. Why being a filmmaker in Northern Europe sucks. My name is Damien and welcome to Monkey Pixel.
We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3, listen.
So first of all, let me tell you that I'm a huge advocate of spreading positivity as well as, making the best out of a bad situation. But for sake of the argument, let's indulge in a little bit of negativity for this video's sake. And I'm just noticing that my YouTube setup isn't right. Alexa, turn office ceiling to teal. Thank you. All right, that is better. We've been traveling a lot. We've been shooting a lot in Los Angeles, in Las Vegas, or in some other really cool countries. But we are originally based in Vienna, where we are right now.
It's cold. I don't want this.
And right now it's winter time and that just sucks. And why did I label it Northern Europe and not just Europe in general? Because there's some really cool places in Europe like Italy, Spain, or even some islands, but most of Northern and Western Europe as well as Eastern Europe usually are very, very prone to seasons, and that kind of sucks when it comes to filmmaking. Because A, you're faced with a lot of rainy days, with a lot of overcast days, and even in the summertime, it just never looks as good as a Hollywood production. And have you ever thought about why that is? And why all big movies are shot in Hollywood and not somewhere else? And the thing is, it's all because of light. So why is the light different in Hollywood than it, for example, is in Toronto or maybe even New York or London? Bear with me, I'm definitely not a physicist.
No, you're not.
So whenever I say something wrong, I'm trying to keep it as simple to my understanding as possible. So it's all about retraction of light, because some places are just further away from the sun and they're just in a different angle towards the sun. So when the sun actually hits the surface, it looks totally different in one place than another, and that has all something to do with being closer to the equator, whatever you pronounce it. So therefore, most of the stuff is actually being filmed in Hollywood because there you have one of the nicest weathers all year long. So A, you can actually shoot outdoors, and most of Warner Bros. Studios are actually filmed outside where they have the actual sky to actually use their fake cities and fake buildings with. And that is one thing that is really cool, to actually get a non-studio looking feel to it. And I've heard from a DP that actually works in Hollywood that most of the stuff is filmed in Hollywood or maybe even Atlanta, but when they want to have something look a little bit more smudgy or even cheap, then they most of the times film that in Vancouver. And Vancouver is pretty much on the same height as most of Northern Europe, so that actually makes a lot of sense. Because when you actually film in a city like London or Vienna or Berlin or all these big northern cities in Europe, the light just doesn't look as good. For example, we went to Abu Dhabi in the desert to film, and the light there was just gorgeous because you have this natural integrated orange and teal look everywhere. There's the sand dunes to complement the orange with the color contrast to the natural blue sky, and the light everywhere was just perfect. Even when shooting in high noon, the light wasn't even as harsh as you're noticing this in other big cities. Same goes for LA or even Las Vegas or some islands in Europe like Mallorca, Ibiza, Cyprus. Everywhere the light was really, really cool. And now we came back to Europe and we wanted to start creating content again, and we went out and everything just didn't look right. Everything looked a little bit more amateurish because the highlights were blown out, and even with a camera that has 15 stops of dynamic range, we never really were able to get the blue out of the sky in a winter sky when balancing the dynamic range of your subject, where it is way easier. And again, this is all due to retraction of the light, because when the angle is different to the sun, then the light is being retracted way more often than when it's in another angle that is more straight and closer to the sun, if that makes any sense. So all these blue beams coming from the sun that actually make up most portions of the blue or even teal light in the sky, that gets actually retracted more often when you're on a different latitude that is not as close to the equator as if you're in a location that is closer to it. So most of this blue feeling actually gets lost. Our eye can most of the time see it because the dynamic range of our eye is way higher than even the best RE and red cameras out there. So even if you're seeing it, your camera is most of the times not able to see it. So even in a country like India, for example, where there's a billion-dollar Bollywood industry, films never really look as good as if they were shot in LA. And therefore it kind of sucks a little when you're in Europe trying to get that really Hollywood look. So one thing you can actually go around that is try different stuff. Most of the times when you're a beginner filmmaker, you just usually go out to a public place like the next forest to shoot your content there. But maybe try getting out of your comfort zone and try to get an indoor location, or maybe shoot at night and actually light the place yourself. And that way you can get around that and shoot really cool content that might be actually unique, and you don't really see the difference with the quality of light or even the weather that might not be as good as in Hollywood. So again, that was just a little rant, but maybe with a little value in the end, why I think that shooting in cool places closer to the equator, I still don't know how to pronounce that word, is way cooler than being stuck in most European cities. But actually you can still get really cool footage, you just have to think a little bit out of the box. I hope you liked this video. My name is Damien Cooper and welcome to Monkey Pixels.